Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another episode of Cinemania, a very special episode of Cinemania this week, because I am joined by my co-hosts of the fabulous Paradisco, a program that we make for the brilliant the 365 network. And so I'll start with introducing you to Jawa, who is the host of that show. Jawa,
Hello,
welcome.
evening. Thank you.
Good
Thank you for having
evening.
me.
No, thank you for coming here. And also we are this is a special Oscars program, so I'm very excited to also be joined by James Murphy, who is our other co-host on the Cinema Paradisco show. Hi, James. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm filling in for Harrison Ford because he has shingles, so he can't make it.
I'm so pleased to have you guys with me, and what we're going to do. This is going to be just a really relaxed thing that we're gonna look at all the nominees. We probably won't have the time to go through all the nominations for tonight's Oscars ceremony, but we are going to do the main ones, and we are all gonna say who we think is going to win or what we think should win and what is going to win instead. I'm going to start with, I think the first thing we could start with would be best animation. Let's start with
Mm,
that.
nice.
Jawa, go for it.
Well, I've yeah, that's a good category for me because I've seen quite a few of these. Let me just look at my notes. So, I mean, obviously, I would like it to be Wallace and Gromit, which picked up the BAFTA, which I think was, there was possibly a bit of Brit bias in there, but I think it will probably be Inside Out, and I think that's a very deserving film. I thought that was great, possibly even better than the original Inside Out. So, yeah, that would be my what I'd like to win and what I think will actually win.
James Murphy.
Yeah, I mean, I work at this because there's always an element of nostalgia with Oscars because obviously we're celebrating the present and looking to the future. But I'm always thinking about, I think it was 95, 96 when we saw Wallace and Gromit with, the big players and stuff. It'd be lovely to see an echo of that. But that's, that sentiment. So yeah, probably Inside Out at that technical level. But from a sentimental, patriotic level, wouldn't it be lovely if Wallace and Gromit just turned up again?
Yeah, I personally think the Wild Robot will win this one.
Mm.
I think it just has enough of that kind of like really a little bit of seriousness with some silliness, and the Oscars tend to love those kind of epic kind of narratives that serve both adults and kids. So I think, I mean, I know a lot of people in the UK would love Wallace and Gromit to win, and I actually any other year would have gone for Wallace and Gromit because I really love Wallace and Gromit. I just feel that Wallace and Gromit it only came out in the States on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Here it was head by the BBC, so it came out on the BBC on New Year on Christmas Day or Boxing Day. I can't remember exactly, but in America it was mostly on Netflix, and I don't think it got like a major amount of sort of publicity over there. I mean, obviously it's a really well-known franchise. People love those shows and those films. But for me, I think the Wild Robot is more cinematic. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, fair.
So, okay. So that's number one. Let's do next. I think let's do what we think is going to win adapted screenplay. So the nominations, let me just remind you of the nominations for adapted. A Complete Unknown,
Hmm.
Conclave, Emilia Perez. Yeah, I think we know Emilia Perez is not going to win. Nickel Boys, Sing Sing. Yeah, that's it. So,
That's the lot. Yeah.
Jawa, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think is going to win, or who you would like to win, and who do you think will win?
Mm. I mean, I mean, a dark horse is Nickel Boys. I think that. got a lot of praise, deservedly so. But I feel like it's between Conclave and A Complete Unknown. Uh, or I don't know which way to go on that. But I think I'd like Conclave to win, and I think it probably will actually. I think it will probably just pip A Complete Unknown.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I've said all along that I think Complete Unknown cinematically and even story-wise is just okay. I think what made A Complete Unknown such a fabulous movie is genuinely Timothée Chalamet's uh, uh, role performance in the film. So for me it was mostly that made it into the movie that's getting so much praise. But I think I'm going to agree with you. I think Conclave is has got this one in my opinion.
Mm.
Yeah. Let's ask James Murphy if he's able to reply. James,
I
what
minutes. I will go with Conclave because I think they adapted the impossible twist without giving away that twist really sensitively and really responsibly, which was misrepresented incidentally without giving political by a number of thickos who I don't think had actually seen the film or read the book. Manages to take quite dry dialogue, very succinct and punchy. So yeah, that's the one I'm going.
yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah, going back to the Oscars, I mean, we haven't really spoken exactly about what we usually because this year's is a bit of a mishmash, really. Even if, like, as someone who's been like a watcher of the Oscars for over decades, really, I feel like this is one of those years where there isn't an outright winner, like at first glance. And I don't remember the last time we've had this. Can you? Can either of you remember the last time we had an Oscar sort of shortlist that's been so wishy-washy, and we don't really know who's going to win what and where and when?
well, I mean,
When Warren Beatty was was unfailing up. Yeah, I think La La Land was probably the one. That's the one I remember recently, anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not just talking about just the one film. I think this is the first time in a very long time where it could be anyone's, like the best picture. We'll talk about best picture later, but for me, this is the very first time where there isn't an outright sort of, although Emilia Perez got 13 nominations, I think we can all say with confidence after the debacle with Carla Sofia Gascon and which I won't go on about too much. I think we can all safely say that that's not gonna go anywhere, and I think they'll be lucky to even pick up one Oscar. But there isn't an outright clear winner here. Jawa, what do you think?
I tend to agree. It was funny. I was going to mention the same year that James mentioned. That was the year of La La Land and oh, I had it in my mind a second ago. Sh
It's Moonlight.
Moonlighting. That's right. Moonlights, I should say. Yes.
Moonlight, yeah.
It could have been either of them. And the same year, the other year that had Green Book nominated, that year,
Oh,
well, felt like it could really be any of them. And yeah, I agree. It's going to be this one for sure. Although I was going to say it feels like one of the most predictable years for a long time, as maybe I don't, it just the choices seem fairly obvious, and all the award ceremonies leading up to this have kind of followed the same trends. I think Timothy Chalamet won Best Actor in one award ceremony, the SAGs, I think it was.
yeah,
And otherwise, it's been pretty much the similar pattern throughout. But yeah, I mean, we'll come to it, but picking out a best film, that's probably the toughest one because it could be any of them, really.
yeah. So yeah, we've spoken about adapted screenplay. Let's now turn to original screenplay, and I'll tell you who's in the run-in for that one. We've got Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet and Mona Fastvold for The Brutalist, a real pain for Jesse Einsberg, my friend Jesse Eisenberg, and we've got September 5, which didn't do much really. September 5, I think they're all. Award season and for sort of it hasn't really amounted to much. So we've
No.
got September 5, and then we've got the substance for Coralie Farja, and then yeah, who do we think is going to win? I'll start with you, Jawa. Who do you think out of that lot is going to win
Oh,
best original screenplay?
I mean, September 5 is probably the most recent film I think released on that list.
Mm.
But I would love it to be The Substance because that seems like the most original of the bunch. But and A Real Pain, I think, is a great film. But for me, it's down to Anora or The Brutalist.
Mm.
If you're going to put me on the spot, I would say I think it'd probably be Anora actually.
Okay. I personally would like it to be the Brutalist or Honora, but I think because Jesse Eisenberg has been collecting quite a few very lately. He's won in London for the Critics Circle, and he's won the BAFTA, which he wasn't expecting. And I think he won something else very recently as well. So he's picking up momentum.
Mm.
I personally think could be Jesse. I think Jesse Eisenberg will win this one. Um, Not because it's a better script or anything, but I just think there's a lot of love for that film, and it's a small movie with a big heart. And I remember like watching it at the London Film Festival, where there was a standing ovation for it because it's just there is nothing not to like about it. It is
Yeah.
admittedly a small movie. It's not The Brutalist, and but the storyline is really lovely, and Jesse is very funny. That's a really funny screenplay. Yeah. James, what do you think? Who do you think out of that lot will win?
I
Um,
kind of want. I think it's just Jesse's time. I've said this about Oscars before, and I don't say this in any way to kind of demean the office of the Oscars or BAFTAs or anything else. It's just that sometimes you award an actor, yes, for that performance, but also for a body of work at their particular time. And Jesse's a guy who has given consistently brilliant, versatile, charismatic performances. He's been ill-served occasionally by trying to go more commercial in ways that probably haven't served him best. It's only a matter of time before he gets the right role at that level. So yeah, no, I like it. I'd go with him. That's why I vote for him.
if it wasn't for him, so that's who you want to win, or
Yeah,
is that who you think will win?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to big myself up here, but I think or I'll big myself up. I read these guys quite well,
Yeah.
in the sense people talk about strategic voting and so on. In the same way as sometimes, if you go, I think the one I always get my go-to on this is always 1993, where you had every single nominee for Best Actor had given some of their best work ever, be they later in their career or early in it. So Downey for Chaplin versus Pacino for Son of a Woman, and Denzel, Malcolm X, they could all have won. But strategically, kind of, okay, it's just Pacino's time because he didn't get it for Godfather 2 and so many others that he should have got it for. And I think Jesse's in a not dissimilar position in the sense of, like, guys, let's just mark the fact this is a versatile, brilliant guy. You know?
Mm. Yeah, right. So let's do the next category. Just to say, we're not doing this in any kind of order. I'm just doing them as I think of them. But I do have my list here, and I think I'm gonna do the next category would be cinematography, and I'm gonna let you know who is in the running for this one. So, we've got The Brutalist, June Part Two, Emilia Perez, Maria, Maria, Nosferatu. What do we think, guys? Jawa, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think
Oh,
should win?
that's a really tough category. Um, I'll be honest, I don't know Maria. That's the film that's passed me by. Um, Blimey, I mean, I didn't think Dune 2 was a great film, but it looked incredible. Um, the Brutalist just looks absolutely stunning, and how they did that on the budget they had. I really don't know. Emilia Perez also great, but Nosferatu. Unless I'm confusing production values with cinematography, I think it could be Nosferatu, or maybe I think it should be Nosferatu. Um, but out of what I would think will win, I think probably The Brutalist will win that one, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. I think the Brutalist would win as well. Although, I mean, you say you don't know how they've done that with so little money. I mean, there was a mini scandal about the use of AI in some of the shots, so that probably we will go a long way into explaining that. But I still think, regardless of that, I still think the Brutalist really has the best cinematography this year. Nosferatu, I think, is you are right to say it is more production design than cinematography. I think the only other movie for me that could threaten the Brutalist would be June Part Two, which is absolutely stunning. And I think it's for me, it's between the Brutalist and June Part Two, and I'm going to go for the Brutalist. I think that's who should win, and I think that's what will win. James, what do you think?
I think Nosferatu has sort of ruined its own chances there a little bit in the nicest possible way, in that sort of film fan way. I don't know if it was the director who did this. I mean, the director may have mentioned it in passing, and then lots of people did memes about it, where he said I was very influenced by Batman Returns. And people put up like shot by shot comparisons. And Oscar kind of doesn't like stuff like that traditionally, even if it's exposed last minute, and they want to at least look like they're awarding originality. And having looked at it, yeah, I can see that he, like me at the time, probably rewatched Batman Returns on repeat. And that film is still inspirational. It is still underrated as a visual piece of work. If it weren't called Batman Returns, who knows? Who knows? So that may have damaged it slightly. There's also another syndrome in Oscar where they give a kind of a consolation prize or series of prizes to works that are not going to get Best Picture for whatever reason. And therefore, The Brutalist, on account of the fact that it might not get Best Picture, might get lots of little awards in that arena overall. So probably The Brutalist, I would think, maybe.
You think the
If I
Brutalist?
read them right.
Yeah, yeah,
If I read them right. Again, remembering that that's political.
yeah, yeah,
Politics in the sense that we want to give it something, like
yeah.
a speech day, like the kid who's been amazing but hasn't won this trophy. You give him poetry prize or, speech prize. I'm speaking from experience there, of course.
Yeah. Let's do original score, and this one is usually one of the big ones. So let's see. We've got The Brutalist again, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, The Wild Robot. Jawa, I will start with you. Who do you think is going to win out of that lot, and who would you like to win?
See, for me, this is down to Emilia Perez picking up the one award it might get
Okay.
as a sort of consolation, or Wicked. Now, I mean, Wicked has incredible songs, and it's a musical. It's what this is its category. What might count against it slightly is the fact that it's from a musical. So there are original songs that aren't in the musical, the Broadway musical, in here. But if I had to get off the fence, I think seeing it, I don't think Wicked has picked up much in the awards season so far. So I'm going to go with Emilia Perez actually on this one.
Okay, really? Okay, all right. Well, I personally, uh, who do I want to win? Um, I really like that score from Conclave. I think it really adds a lot of sort of thrill to the storyline. So I think that's who I want to win.
Hmm.
But I generally think, again, this is a Brutalist is going to pick this one up. Yeah, I can't see anyone else get in between it and this, but I do think Conclave should win because for me that score and just is incredible. Really is like it really adds to like the urgency of the action and stuff. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go with Conclave on this. It's character in itself, that score. It takes you into it, takes you out of it. It's innovative, it's compelling, it's brilliant. I think the difficulty with giving it to Wicked is that a bit like adapted screenplay or something, you're kind of awarding something that had an existing base. Emilia Perez, I think they're going to want to get away from anything that almost degrades or demeans. It's a difficult one, but I think if you give it something like score, it's going to look like a cop out. It's going to look like saying we want to give it something, but we're not brave enough to give it a best actor or a best picture or something like that. So I think they're going to be sensible and probably avoid it. And the thing is, Emilia Perez, as I understand, there's some catchy stuff, but you're not kind of singing it in the shower, as I understand it. I'm not singing Conclave in the shower, but I remember its impact. So yeah, Conclave.
Okay, good, 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 good. Another really big one, usually, another big prize that people usually put money on every year. So we've got, I think this is was quite a shocking sort of turn for because we expected one of the Wicked songs to be part of this, but there's nothing here. So original song, and the nominees are Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late, that a film that did absolutely nothing anywhere. So just don't understand why something from Wicked wasn't nominated in this. Elmar for from Emilia Perez, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the Six Triple Eight. Like a Bird from Sing Sing. I think this whole category is an absolute mess, in my opinion. I couldn't care less who wins here. Personally, I'm going to start with you, Jawa. Who do you think is going to win, and who would
Oh,
you like to win?
I mean, I agree. It does seem like a bit of a hodgepodge. Ooh, crikey. Um, I've got a funny feeling it could be Elton. It could be Elton's time.
Has he won before? Do you remember if he's won before? Because I can't.
Yes, didn't he win with The Lion King? Was that Elton?
Ah,
No, sorry, he did. Oh, blimey.
So yeah,
Yeah, that was Elton, wasn't it?
get controversial.
okay.
Well, Elton's him, yeah. But then it's Elton kind of, I mean, like Elton's as different about it as you can be, but as he sent it, Zimmer obviously kind of upstaged that a little bit with what he did, the orchestration. It's always a bit of politics as well.
Okay. All right.
No,
Yeah. So, Jawa, who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Never Too Late for Elton John and Brandy Carlisle and Andrew Watt and Bernie Taupin. That's
Yeah.
that's my pick for this category.
Yeah, I think the only other song here that I quite like. I mean, look, I liked Emilia Perez as a musical, and I think the best thing about Emilia Perez is Zoe Saldana, and she does an absolutely great job here. Um, I'm gonna say what's going to win is something. I'm just wondering whether because it's been nominated, two songs from the same movie have been nominated. I'm wondering whether they won't cancel each other out. So you might be right. I think maybe Elton will win. What I would like to win is either one of the songs from Emilia Perez or Like a Bird from Sing Sing, which is a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been my second choice, I have to say.
Yeah. James, are you with us? Can you tell us who you think is going to win?
again, I'm going to go with Elton. I think partly, again, maybe I'm being clouded by sentiment, but it's the idea of him and Torpin on the same ticket. People forget how important those two guys were together and how unbeatable they are. And the Hollywood legacy, again, if you don't have those two guys, you don't get This Is Your Song, which, generally speaking, means you don't get Moulin Rouge. I think as well, yeah, as I've said, The Lion King is an interesting one insofar as, yeah, Elton and Tim Rice got awarded for it. But I think Elton always felt a little bit not peeved or miffed or anything, but frustrated, shall we say, by the fact that Zimmer, who is brilliant, was commissioned to do with score, and maybe Disney intervened or whatever it was at the time, and the score and the songs got confused. So this gives Elton a clear image to say, this is a song that I've written with my old team. It's a lovely note, pardon the pun, on which to go out, because I think Elton's looking at winding down and spending more time with his kids and his family and stuff, and he's earned it. But yeah, go for it, Elton.
Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, we have two people agreeing on that Elton. Well, actually, all three of us are
Mm.
saying. it will probably be Elton.
I would
So
say,
Also, everyone wants to go to Elton's party afterwards.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
it's
So yeah.
like,
Oh, well, you don't have to tell anyone who you voted for. So I mean, who
everyone
knows? Who
knows.
knows?
Everyone knows.
Right. The next category is Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature, and the nominees are Porcelain War, Black Box Diary, great movie, soundtrack to Coup d'etat, No Other Land, Sugarcane. Jawa, who do you think is going to win in this, and who have you seen any of those? Because I'm aware that loads of people don't watch documentaries, and I don't expect anyone else apart from me to watch every single thing because, like as a working critic, I have to watch all of them. But yeah, do tell me who you think is likely to win.
well, I do watch a lot of documentaries, and I love a documentary. So this is the first year I have to hang my head in shame and say I've seen none of these films. I'm really surprised that the Christopher Reeve story isn't in there. I thought that was a cert for a nomination, especially seeing as it won the BAFTA.
Mm.
But no, so I can't help you out here, I'm afraid, Linda.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. James, who do you think is going to win in this one?
Coup d'etat for the title alone. I think.
Soundtrack to Coup d'etat.
I agree on Christopher Reeve, but I think remember release windows. Even if you meet the nominal deadline, the two sort of zones, I think, again without kind of formularizing or being cynical about it, there are two kind of zones in which people tend to watch what become Oscar contenders. One is quite a way in advance, like say 6 months, and then you get this kind of race to the finish. And the problem with that Christopher Reeve film is that I think it sort of fell between. So it's entirely possible at the most human level that loads of people saw it and loved it,
Mm.
but just forgot about it when it came to submitting it for voting. But I agree with you. I'm surprised by that. But then it's a movie. It's not necessarily just a documentary, and it gets confused perhaps with Superman law and so on. And again, politics. If we vote for a film about Superman, are we voting? Are we hyping up the new Superman? So many factors we don't. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, coup d'etat for the title alone.
Yeah. I personally think I would like No Other Land to win, which is a brilliant documentary made by an Israeli and a Palestinian documentary makers about the well, I mean, the situation in the Middle East. I can see why that could be a controversial win because when it won in Berlin last winter, it was an outcry that it was, there's an outcry against it, but it's a film about peace. It's a film about wanting peace in the Middle East, and I think the director was treated rather unfairly, and I'd like to see it win. I also like oh God, what's it called? Black Box Diaries. This by a Japanese director, which I thought it was so well done, and it was. I think she's brilliant at what she does, and I'd like her to be in the running for it. But I think No Other Land will probably win this one. I hope anyway. Yeah. Any other ideas? Any other ideas on the documentary category and why it's always so it never really reflects what's popular every year. Do you think people just don't bother watching those movies and they just see them, they vote for them as a last minute thing and without bothering?
There's there's a marketing problem, isn't there, Linda? Because I think look at streaming, for example, you only really get alerted to them if you're subscribed to the channels that promote them. They're very rarely the first thing that come up as the incentive. They get talked about after the event, after they've been looked at, rather than when they should be looked at. Of course, again, yes. When I say the Oscars are political, I mean they're internally political, isn't like who do I want to suck up to, or who do I want to award, or who do I like? Uh, it's difficult because I think, for example, if they do give it to a beautiful film about peace in the Middle East, which celebrates that, but we're not seeing it for real, it kind of gets people out of their seats rather than back into them. And there's always that. I mean, there's a case for saying maybe The Apprentice should have been submitted as a documentary. I don't, I don't want to get political. I mean, I do want to get political. I won't to the
Right, well, we get into the last few, well, the main ones. Let's not say the last few, because of the main ones, there are quite a few anyway. So let's start with supporting actress, because it's one of the, I think this is one of the first ones that gets given on the night anyway. So let's see who's nominated for this one. We've got Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, who plays John Baez, brilliant in that role. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Who do we think is going to win this one?
Well, if I go first, I
Yeah.
think who is going to win it is pretty much nailed on. It's a fait accompli. It's Zoe Saldana. It's she will win it. Um,
Well, she's won all of them so far, so
yes, exactly. And she was the she was the one moment I must say in the BAFTAs where I did slightly cringe as she brought the Hollywood to the awards stage and
oh God, yes.
did the Gwyneth Paltrow moment, and it seems so phony as well because she was crying 1 second and then berating her husband the next. But so I think she'll definitely win. I would like to see Isabella Rossellini win it because just she deserves it. She's such a fabulous actor, and as James said earlier, sometimes you win for your body of work rather than a specific performance. And I would love her to get it on that basis. But yeah, it's Zoe. It's got to be Zoe,
Well,
hasn't it?
we could say the same thing about Zoe Saldana, who is after 2 decades in the industry, more than 2 decades in the industry, is finally getting her her flowers, as Gen Z says, and that she hasn't really. She's been in some of the most biggest sort of movies of the last 20 years, like the most sort of box office scoring movies of the last 20 years. But
Avatar. She was in Avatar, Avatar 2, Star Trek. I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's been in some absolutely some bangers, and it feels like she's more or less been ignored by the industry for so long. And I think I want her to win. I think she's brilliant in Emilia Perez. I genuinely think she is absolutely incredible. I had no idea she could do all of that. I knew Zoe Saldana as a serious character actress, didn't realize that she was a singer and dancer, and apparently like that's how she started her career. And I
Mm.
was so impressed by her. I think she deserves it. And as you say, yes, she did bring the whole crying and the Hollywood thing, and she did the same at the Critics Circle Awards when she won, and we gave her the award for Best Supporting, and we also gave her a special award as well. And I think she deserves it. And after everything that has gone on with Emilia Perez and Carla Sofia Gascon, I think let's see. I think she will win this one. James, have you said James Murphy? Have you said who do you think is?
I'd like, yeah, I'm with you. I want to see Zoe win it. Obviously, now that we know that she's a trained dancer, if her career ever goes south, it means that she can't win strictly. But I think she can handle that if she gets an Oscar. I mean, she was even in Pirates of the Caribbean 1 in a split second, I think. And even there, she kind of steals the scene she's in. This is an immensely charismatic, generous actor with a great screen presence, a great range, a great craft, who is at once apolitical and yet a symbol of the inclusion that transcends any kind of division there and is all about the work. So yes, give it to her. That would be my instinct.
And
Okay,
of
fair enough,
course,
fair enough.
we didn't even mention Guardians of the Galaxy. So all of these films, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Trek, and the others, they're all great big box office films, but not the sort of films you win Oscars for. Whereas this is the first.
James, you just want Marvel hype for Doomsday and Secret Wars, and I have no doubt they'll bring her back for that because they're going to bring back everybody, including it starts with Downey. That's just the beginning.
Right, we've done supporting actress. Let's do supporting actor, and I think we all know who's going to win this one, but let's go through it anyway. The nominees are Borisov, sorry, for Anora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice, And who do we think is going to win this? I'll start with you, Jawa. Who do you think will win this one?
Well, who I want to win this one is Hugh Grant, but he's not nominated. That was the one. I thought the BAFTAs got pretty much everything right,
Yeah.
and I think Kieran Culkin fully deserved his BAFTA. I just felt I really wanted Hugh to win it. I felt he deserved it. His performance in Heretic was so good. Yeah, no, he's on such a roll. He's been around so long. Again, it's the body of work. Anyway, put that away, Jower. It's not going to happen. So it's Kieran Culkin, and he fully deserves it. The two supporting categories are very similar in that the winner feels obvious and it feels right. So yeah, it's going to be Kieran Culkin, surely.
James, who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win? And who do you think is going to win?
I think any of those guys could take it, but a lot of them have had accolades already. Norton's an interesting one in insofar as obviously he has some amazing performances, Fight Club and uh, the one with Richard Gere, Primal Scream. I think that's what's Primal Fear. You to name many. But at the same time, he's a pain in the ass, notoriously. Ask Marvel with the Incredible Hulk and stuff like that. He's become a little bit one note, I think, to some extent, and I don't think necessarily there's any merit in giving him anything now. The other guys, again, perfectly gracious, perfectly brilliant. But yeah, I think it's just a shoe in for Culkin. And the other good thing is that'll make Macaulay probably sit up and think, do you know what? It's time for Home Alone 3. Time for some sibling rivalry. Get my A game back.
Home Alone 5, surely.
Hmm. Well,
The others aren't canon. Come on.
look, I loved Kieran Culkin in this, and I knew he was going to get nominated, and I'm 100%, almost 100% sure that he's going to win this one, and it's his to take home. Having said that, I absolutely loved Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown. I just think he really disappears in that role. He is just so incredible. And throughout the movie, I kept forgetting it was Edward Norton. That is a sure sign that a person has really delivered the job that they were supposed to be delivering. And I think Edward Norton's absolutely brilliant in this. I mean, there are no things. Jeremy Strong's brilliant in The Apprentice. So it's a hard one, but I think it's Kieran Culkin's time. And he's won everything so far, and I can't see anyone else coming between him and the Oscar. So yeah, Kieran Culkin is going to win this one, and I don't begrudge him. I just think Edward Norton would have any other year, Norton would have won this one. I'm
A lot of people felt he should have won for American History X, didn't they? But
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
didn't. So I mean, that gives him a slight percentage increase in chance. That sort of Oscar ode factor. But yeah, I can't see past Culkin myself.
Yeah. Let's do the next the next category, and that is Best Actress. Nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mickey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, the Brazilian movie. And which reminds me, we have not done a film and an international movie, but I think I'm Still Here is going to win that one anyway because I don't see any other movie being better than that. But anyway, let's stick to this. Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. And who do we think is going to win, Jawa? Who do you think will win? Who should win? Who do you want to win?
Well, it's all the same person. I think it's Demi Moore. I think she deserves it. She is a Hollywood icon. She's resurgent. She's come back. I said earlier that the film is The Substance is one of the most original films uh, I can remember, certainly this year. She's incredible, and yeah, I think she will win. She should win, and yeah, absolutely, Demi Moore all the way here.
It was quite a surprise when Mickey Madison won at the BAFTAs.
It
Very, very
was,
surprising.
it
Uh,
was. But then the BAFTAs is always a little bit off center, isn't it? They like to
yeah,
chuck in the odd surprise.
yeah, yeah. I was quite surprised. I thought this was Demi's to take home, and I was quite not disappointed because I do like Mickey Madison. I just think because it is her first big role. I just feel like I think Demi probably deserved it more because they're both brilliant. You know, I hate like comparing actors or actresses, and they're two very different movies. I would have liked to see Demi Moore take this, and it would have been like a good win for people, for women over the age of 50 in Hollywood. And I think giving it to Demi will mean more to women in film really than to Mickey Madison, who as I say, still love, and I think that performance is brilliant. James Murphy, what do you think?
Yeah, I give it to me because again, as you and yourself point out, as you and Joel point out, BAFTA, as Nicole says, who sadly wasn't
Oh,
nominated, maybe happily wasn't nominated, can be a little bit temperamental, and I mean a number of factors. I've mentioned the politics, I've mentioned legacy, and Joel and yourself agree with me on this. That's in no way to demean anybody who does win it just for one performance.
mm,
But yeah, you go back to G.I. Jane and stuff like that. This is an actor who has always pushed herself physically,
mm,
who has always been a star, great voice, great presence. Sentimentally, you've got 30 years to mark. At a meta level, just as I say, because I'm sentimental, she's helping to nurse one of the legends, Bruce Willis, behind the scenes. And there's a part of me that just thinks wouldn't it be lovely if there were that moment, which we wouldn't see, obviously, wouldn't even see it on Insta or anything. But if he knew that his
mm.
Oh,
Oh, have you gone? I think we might have lost James.
that
Okay,
movie,
oh, he's back.
we've lost James. But let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next category, which is Best Actor. Nominees are Adrian
so yeah,
Brody, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Carmen Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. So far, Adrian Brody has won the most accolades in this category. Apart from, I think Ray Fiennes has won at the Critics Circle, obviously, and the London Critics Circle. Can someone remind me where else has he won? Um, I don't have the list in front of me. Not that it matters, but yeah, I feel like the person who has won the most awards in this category this season has must be Adrian Brody for The Brutalist.
Yeah.
Jawa, I'll start with you. Who do you think will win? Who do you want to win?
Um, I just wanted to drop in. I'm really surprised Margaret Qualley didn't get a nomination
Yeah.
for Best Supporting Actress. I thought that was really odd. But anyway, back on topic.
No, no, you've got your
Um,
points are made.
I think I think Sebastian Stan has got no chance, unfortunately, because of the topic
Yeah,
of his film. As much as you almost felt the chill in the room at the BAFTAs when the film got mentioned. So
yeah.
he's got no chance.
Mm.
Um, I said in one of our very early Cinema Paradiscos that I felt Carmen Domingo was shaping up towards an Oscar, but looking at this list, it's not this year.
No, this year, no, no, no. Yeah,
So uh, it just much with the others, it feels that the preceding awards show you which way the land is lying, and it's Adrian Brody. I would like to see Timothy Chalamet win it, but
yeah,
I think it will be Adrian.
yeah. I think it's between Chalamet and Brody, and I wonder if those two won't cancel each other out and leave and sort of have Ray Fiennes with like
Hmm?
end up with more votes than either of them. I'm wondering now, is that a possibility?
Possible. Be very funny to see Ralph give an awkward speech up on the stage. But I think he'd be sat there in the audience saying, "Would that it were! Would that it were!" But
Yeah, James Murphy, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win this one?
Brody has it. The maths are on his side. I mean, yes, he's got one in the can already. Got it for the pianist.
yeah,
Yeah,
But double Oscar winners do happen, as we were talking about, Gene Hackman, Jack Nicholson, whoever else. There's enough time between them. Also, it's Tom Hanks was the last one who got like them back to back. Yeah, I think it's Brody's to lose really.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I really, really want Timothée Chalamet. He hasn't won that many in this sort of this season of in the award season, but he did win the SAG. But the SAG's always been different anyway, and I think he really, really wants to win the Oscar, and he has a chance. Maybe I don't know. Let's see, because he could surprise us all and win it, and with great reason, because he's fabulous, and I think Adrian Brody has showed that what he can do earlier on in his career, and people still think of him as the guy who won for The Pianist, and the guy who can do anything, and who's been in all these really fantastic movies throughout the years. And Timothée Chalamet, he's still at the start of his career, but he's already got so much work behind him. I'd like to see Timothée win it, but I think Adrian will win it, and I wouldn't be disappointed if he won it, if you know what I mean. Either of those two, and I think all of them are really good. It's the one year where I actually don't begrudge any nomination here. I think they're all really good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with that. Adrian's got incredible range. If you think about the films he does, like
yeah.
because he does action blockbusters like Predators and King Kong and things like that, and then he does the serious, big, huge films as well. And Timothy's grown a little special mustache and beard, so maybe he deserves it. But no, it's Adrian's. It's got to be Adrian's.
Right. Our next category is a big one as well. That's Best Director. And we have the nominations are for Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Coralie Farja for The Substance, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Yeah, I think that's it. And who do we think is going to win, Jawa?
Well, see, this is why I'm glad you're hosting this, because if this was over on Cinema Paradisco, this would be the part of the show where I'm just stumbling horrendously over pronouncing people's names. Um, it's one of those categories, as often happens, where they miss someone out who's nominated. His film is nominated for best film, but he doesn't get a nomination for best director. I'm of course talking about Conclave and Berger not getting nominated, which
Weird,
seems
isn't it?
very odd. But I I can't see past Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. I think he should win. I think he will win. I go back to my budget statement. Yes, there may have been some AI, but I believe the budget was something like 30 odd million compared to sort of 200 million for other films. And that's just incredible. I think he fully deserves the Oscar, in my opinion.
Yeah. James, what do you think?
Same principle, different film. I think it's a shame that the director of Wicked didn't get a nod because that's to bring theatre to film is a very difficult thing to do and to make it its own animal, which is what they've done in a very epic manner. So I'm surprised by that. I think Mangold might get it again because it sort of pleases everybody and doesn't divide the others as much. I also think, as I've also been saying, sometimes you get it for the stuff you did before. And Mangold has done incredible work. I mean, I love what's the one? The Le Mans 66 is a great piece of work, which was very
Mhm.
underrated. And I forgive him. I forgive him totally, unconditionally, and completely for a film I shall not mention, the fifth Indiana Jones film. Cough, cough.
Fair enough, fair enough. I personally think Brady Colbert is going to win this. I This is who I think will win, and this is who I want to win. And as you guys know, all the way back in end of August, I think it was when I told you,
Yeah.
I watched like the end of August 2024, and I watched The Brutalist, and I said I have just watched the film that is going to win the best film Oscar, and I still think that's going to win. I was wavering a little bit there when I saw Conclave at the London Film Festival, and for me that seemed like the best mainstream movie that could threaten the Brutalist, which is admittedly a very long movie, but it's also an absolutely brilliant movie. So Yeah, I've all along said that Brady Corbet would probably win Best Director, but let's see. I can't see anyone else in that list that likely to even sort of threaten that might even take it away from him. So that's who I think is going to win, and I think that's who should win. Let's do now for the very last category, and I think we're done after this, and that is Best Picture. And the nominees are Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, June Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked.
Mm.
And who do we think is going to win? Joe, I'll start with you. What do we actually do? Do we think there are too many nominees in this?
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah.
it's a bit too much, in my opinion. I remember a time where not that many movies were sort of in the short list. So, what do you think of that?
Yes, I remember it was, I think it was five, wasn't it,
Yeah,
traditionally? And then some point in the early 21st century, they jumped it up to eight or 10. They made it even worse because they decided then rather than having one or two people present, they would have one person for each film come out and do a little speech, which was just torture. So yes, there are far too many films nominated, and sometimes you feel they're just filling the bucket up with whatever's lying around rather than films that actually warrant being nominated. Um, I From that list, I would say, or it's between the Conclave and the Brutalist. I can't see past those two. They seem far ahead. Um, I was surprised Conclave won at the BAFTAs, thinking that the Brutalist was just the film. So that's rather sort of punctured my confidence. But I oh
did Conclave win for Best British Film, or did it win for Best Film?
from
Because
memory, I thought it won
the
Best
BAFTA does
Film.
have those. I can't remember. I could look it up, but we don't have time to be looking things up right now. Let me
Yeah,
have
no,
a quick look. I could look it
Conclave.
up.
Conclave did win best film at the BAFTAs. Um, so but actually, I think it's going to be The Brutalist. That's going to be my pick. That's where I'm putting
Yeah.
my two pence.
Okay, fair enough. James, you with us?
Yeah, the brutalist.
Yeah.
For the simple reason that if again, without it being a maths game, if you give it to Conclave, you then almost open up all sorts of questions like, well, why didn't it win X, Y, Z other things? Why wasn't it nominated elsewhere? Having said that, if there is a challenger, I think yeah, Conclave is as interesting a film, but I think the Brutalist is the one that is breaking new ground, challenges the most, and has the clearest edge.
Hmm. I I want the Brutalist to win, and I think it's going to win. And I think it's been between it and Conclave for months and months and months. I just have a sneaky suspicion that Honora might do a moonlight and snatch this at the very last minute. Maybe, maybe uh
We need Warren. We
sorry,
need Warren Beatty. We need Warren Beatty to be presenting them.
With a handful of
and
envelopes.
fade on away. Yeah, we want them to be
Less.
presenting it. Yeah. But Honora could win because it's
Interesting.
getting a very lots of last minute love. I still want the Brutalist to win, and I wouldn't be disappointed if Honora won. I think that those three movies are all very good movies in their own way, and I'd be happy if any of them won.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm just gonna give both of you like last sort of some last words around the Oscars and tell me what you think.
Well, I love the Oscars. I'm always slightly sad when Billy Crystal isn't presenting. The years that he presented through the late 90s and early 2000s were just the best years because it needs that person who is genuinely funny to do brilliant skits. Hugh Jackman was good, but he's a musical man, and I'm there for the jokes, and he really pulled it off. Recent years have been really good with the likes of oh, I always forget his name, the American talk show host who presented recently. I'm just
Jimmy
trying.
Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel?
No, it's the other one who I always confuse with Jimmy Kimmel. But not to worry. Because he had this running bit with Matt Damon where he would.
That's Jimmy Kimmel. That's Kimmel.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
Um,
definitely Jimmy Kimmel.
but uh,
Yeah,
but
it's
anyway, yeah, no. But I'm sure Conan O'Brien will do a great job. And there'll be a few tears shed during the in memoriam section, as there always are. I always get a bit weepy when they do that bit. But no, it'll be a great night. Oh yeah, it is Jimmy Kimmel. Sorry, you're quite right. I was confusing him with the other guy who looks a lot like him. And um, yeah, no, it'll be a great night, and I look forward to it. I'll probably watch the highlights because, man alive, it's a long ceremony. But and it'll be on in I've got work in the morning, so no, a great night ahead. Lots of awards, lots of slightly cringeworthy speeches, and we'll meet up again to have a roundup, I'm sure.
Let's hope nobody slaps or punches someone. God, we don't want a repeat of that
No,
sad story, sad spectacle.
I
I
wonder
think,
if there'll be a mention of that.
yeah, I think we are one man down. We've lost James Murphy, unfortunately.
Hmm.
He was, I mean, it was touch and go whether he could do the show because he was doing some other stuff, personal stuff. So I won't divulge. But yeah, thank you both for joining me and really fantastic. And thanks again. This was really like an eye opener, and it's really always nice to get someone else's opinion who you think is going to win on the night. Thanks again. Congratulations to everyone and to all the nominees, and good luck. Good luck, everyone. And I shall see you soon with another episode of Cinemania. Hopefully, not too long from now. And I know we're very sporadic on posting on this channel, but it's coming. It's coming soon. So yeah, thank you. Enjoy the Oscars, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Very much. Bye.
Bye. Okay.